Hello guys, welcome back again. This is Suresh from Azure Automation channel. Today we will discuss about logical controllers in JMeter. So this controller concepts is very important as part of performance testing with the JMeter. So we have to understand each and every controller within the JMeter. So to see how many controllers we have in the JMeter, first you need to go to thread group and right click and go to add, then go to the logical controller and you will see all types of controllers here. So we will discuss few controllers in this session and few we will cover in next sessions. Before we get started, we have to understand why we need this logical controllers. So logical controllers determines the order in which samples are processed. So we have a number of requests and you need to process them one by one or sequentially or randomly. So we have to do a lot of operations with these controllers with our samplers. So this is a very important concept to watch this entire session. So first I will go to a simple controller and add that simple controller. So now I have few samplers in my thread group. So I need to see how those will be executed without any controller. Now I go to the view results tree and just quickly run it and I will see home page, page 1 and page 2. These are executed sequentially. Now I have taken a simple controller. So simple controller is nothing but a container. So which will organize my samples. So I have home page, page 1 and page 2. So all this will be organized in that container. Even I can have multiple controllers in my project. I can use a one controller. So this is as per the user need and this is just to segregate them accordingly based on my usage. So if I mention that okay, sample controller will be of login purpose, I can mention this as a login. Then in the home page I have some other operations. For that I will add one more controller and I will paste all the samplers in that. Now I will add all these three into my simple controller. Now you will see view results tree and this is a previous execution. If I run it again and you will see a same kind of execution. There is a no change in the execution. So this is simple controller. It doesn't give any kind of functionality. It is just a no logical control. So whatever the order or a sequence that you keep the samplers in your controller, it will execute it based on that. It will not do any kind of condition checking or any kind of looping mechanism on this. So this is about a simple controller. And next we have a loop controller. So what is the purpose of loop controller? So I have a simple controller and then you have a loop controller. So loop controller will loop your sampler or a sample which will be executed based on your loop count that you given. So to add that loop controller, you again go to thread group and go to add and go to logical controller and then you go to the loop controller. So in this loop controller, I will add this page 2 into my loop controller. Now page 2 will be separated out from the simple controller and simple controller has a home page and a page 1. Now if I go to view results tree and I will clear this just to see how this execution happen. Right now my thread group count is 1 and the user count is 1, ramp up second is 1 and the loop controller is 1. So if I go to view results tree and run it, now we can see home page, page 1 and page 2. So page 2 is kept in loop controller and we given loop count is 1. If I give a loop count of 3 and now you will see a difference. If I run it again, now you will see the page 2 which is there in my loop controller is executed 3 times. So this is how the loop controller will behave. So loop controller will add a logic that whatever the count that you have given, it will be executed that many times. So in a page, if you wanted to refresh or if you wanted to get a information of any API, for that you can use this kind of logical loop controller, which will be run as per your number of loops. Or after login you have to perform multiple operations in your home page, so all those home page related calls you can keep in the logical control so that it will be executed based on the count that you given. And there is one more logic here. If my thread group count is 1, so here my thread group count is 1, I will change it to 2. So now this 2 and in this there is a 3. So how it will behave now? So if I go and clear this results, now if I run it again, now you will see a different logic. Okay, now thread group count was 2, that is the reason we have executed 2 times, and loop controller is 3. So 2 into 3, how many times? 6 times this page 2 got executed. right? So this is a logic behind a loop controller. Only once controller. So this only once controller is the controller which will be executed only once in your entire execution of your thread. So in my thread, I will execute them and it will run only once. So for that, I will go to thread group and go to logical controller and I will add once only controller. So the name itself, it says once only. So in this, I will do one thing. Here I have a simple controller. So simple controller, under that I will move this loop controller, and under that loop controller again I will move my once only controller. So under that loop controller only I will keep once only controller. So in the once only controller, what I will do, I will copy this page too, and just to show you how it will be running. So you know, right? Just now we discussed about loop controller. Loop controller will be running every request based on the number of loops that I've given. So here the loop controller is 3, and this page 2 will be executed 3 times and page 3 will be executed 3 times. But here there is a one more controller which I added, which is a once only controller. So once only controller will execute only one time. So for that I will again clear the results and go to the view results tree. Now if I run it, and you will see page 3. So if you see the page 3, it has executed how many times? It has executed almost one time in the first execution. I think there is a home page which is missing. Okay, let me do one thing. I will keep this up. So this is of in the simple controller home page and page 1. Under that loop controller page 2, and then it once only controller. Let me clear it out and run it again. Now you can see there is home page. Under that home page you have page 1, which is in the simple controller, it executed one time. Then you have a loop controller. So loop controller has page 2, page 3. Now page 3 got executed only once, but whereas page 2 got executed 3 times. And in the next run also it is same. Page 2 got executed 3 times and page 3 got executed only one time. So this is the logic behind once only controller, loop controller, and a simple controller. So these are the few controllers which will be used frequently, and we will discuss more controllers in the next session. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, queries, you can post in my comment section. I will help you out. Thank you.